21st of June, we are starting Bhakti Basics. This is part of the Advanced Bhagavad Gita course. Advanced Bhagavad Gita course has many levels. These levels are not interconnected to each other. So in case you're traveling in between or anything and you've missed any particular level, you can always start the next one. They're not connected. So this particular level is called Bhakti Basics. In this Bhakti Basics, we have two topics. One topic is called Surrender, the theme of surrender, which is discussed in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna. And the second theme is deity worship. Surrender has about 4 to 5 sessions and deity worship has about 2 to 3 sessions. So roughly about 7 sessions we'll be completing this module of Bhakti Basics. Okay? Now in surrender we have 4 to 5 sessions depending on questions. So there are 4 topics, but I keep it a little flexible in case we didn't finish and we carry forward to the next class or something. And deity worship, again there are 2 sessions, one practical, one theory. So practical, we'll be having actual live demo of how to worship a deity. We'll have deities, we'll have all the paraphernalia and how it is actually done. And that class is going to be a surprise. I'll give you the surprise one class earlier.
But please inform us beforehand, otherwise it will be a surprise.
It is a surprise, huh? How can I inform you beforehand? Not such a big surprise that you're like totally shocked. Actually, you will be pleasantly shocked. And the second part will be, first we'll do the theory and then the practical part. Okay, so this will be the 2 sessions. So in case you missed anything, you know what you've missed. So in Bhagavad Gita, we have this chapter 18, verse number 66. So in this class, just keep the Gitas with you all the time, because we're going to keep flipping pages, keep reading passages from the Gita, what Krishna has spoken, and then discussing further. So we'll always be in touch with Gita. No, that book, the second book, the green book that we've given you, is that usually people ask us what shlokas to learn if they want to learn sometimes, or very important shlokas of all the Shastras, of all the scriptures, from Mahabharata, from Upanishads. It's not practical to open all the Upanishads and all the entire Srimad Bhagavatam and read through it. But what are the most important things if someone likes to memorize shlokas? So all the important ones are in this one book.
Along with the meaning?
Along with the meaning. Word to word translation also, so you know exactly what it means. So maybe when you all go home and just randomly in fact Chanakya Pandit always says that there should be no day of human life which is gone without reading something from the scriptures. So then this is a very good book. Like for us to just randomly pick up the Gita, what to read, you'll be like what to start, where to start. This book is very handy. You can just randomly open any shloka and just read. It just freshens our intelligence so much. Every day we have thought for the days or something. You can always keep this book with you. It's very nice. That's what even I do. Every day I open one shloka in the morning, read. It just immediately brightens your day.
There's an explanation.
Explanation also. In fact, even word to word translations are there. So it's very good. So Bhagavad Gita chapter 18 verse number 66. This, if you see, is the last chapter of the Gita. When we did our journey of self-discovery together, what we did is we discussed only the 5 very essential topics that we need to know. You all remember? Ishvara, Jeev, Prakriti, Kal and Karma. These were the 5 topics which are very basic in Bhagavad Gita, and every human being needs to know these 5 topics. And then later on there are so many more themes that are there in Bhagavad Gita. One of them is surrender. So under this surrender, what are there in the 4 sessions? Number 1, the first session, that is today's session, is what is surrender and why to surrender. This is today's session. Next session will be how to surrender. First number 2 will be the next session, how to surrender. Session number 3 is 4 types of people who surrender to Krishna. And the last session will be 4 types of people who never surrender to Krishna. So under this topic of surrender, this is what we're going to discuss in the 4 to 5 sessions that we'll have. Every class I'll be mentioning this so that we chained, we linked. So now you'll know, in case due to some emergency, if you miss something, that you'll know which class you missed. Is it why to surrender, how to surrender? Yeah. And one more thing, every class I'll be revising what we've done previously. Yeah. So we'll always have a chain. DT worship, when we come to that, I told you one theory, one practical. So that's the 2 sessions of DT worship. So now what is surrender? And why have we taken up this topic of surrender first of all? Now this shloka that we are doing today is extremely important. This is one of the fundamental shlokas that every child who even if he comes to Krishna consciousness, this is the first thing that he learns because he heard it so many times. This is like a final clarion call which Krishna gives to Arjuna. After 18 chapters, now first chapter is just setting the scene and where Arjuna speaks about his confusion, why he doesn't want to fight the war, literally. After the whole Mahabharata being arranged, he says, I don't want to fight because of so many reasons. Then from chapter 2, around the 11th verse onwards, Krishna starts speaking. First he gives the science of the soul, then he gives karma yoga, dhyan yoga, jnana yoga, so many things. He speaks about the 3 modes of material nature, he speaks about karma. We'll be doing these in the further, some we've already done, some we'll be doing in the further classes also. And then finally, Krishna tells Arjuna, he says that you'd give me a final decision. You give me so many options, which is the best amongst them? Yeah? So Krishna gives him this final theory for almost at the end of the 18th chapter, out of which the most important principle or the most important instruction is this shloka. So we'll be doing this shloka very nicely, trying to familiarize ourselves very nicely with this shloka. Okay, so can we start? Is everyone there on your chapter 18 verse number 66? Please repeat. Sarvadharman, all varieties of religion. Can you see your word-to-word translation? This is what I am reading. Parityajya. Below the shloka, there is the Sanskrit, then there is English, and then there is word-to-word translation. That's what I am reading. Parityajya. Abandoning. Mam. Unto me. Ekam. Only. Sharanam. For surrender. Vraja. Go. Aham. I. Tvam. You. Sarva. All. Papebhyah. From sinful reactions. Moksha ishyami. Will deliver. Ma. Do not. Shuchaha. Worry. Shloka. Sarvadharman parityajya. Again, Sarvadharman parityajya. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Moksha ishyami ma shuchaha. Moksha ishyami ma shuchaha. Again, all of us together. 1, 2, 3, start. Sarvadharman parityajya. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Moksha ishyami ma shuchaha. All of us will read the translation together. Abandon all varieties of religion. Can we read it together? Yeah. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Yeah, so this is the final call that Krishna gives to Arjun. So what we're going to do, we're going to do an entire analysis of the entire shloka. Yeah, Krishna says Sarva Dharman Parityaja. Now he's already given us so many dharmas. Dharma that we follow, of a mother, of a child, of this, of that, daughter-in-law, sometimes mother-in-law. So many dharmas that are being followed, plus Catholic, Hindu, Buddhism, so many dharmas that are there. Krishna is saying Sarva Dharman Parityaja. Just abandon them, just let them go. Yeah, that's his first line. Second, Mam Ekam, only to me. So many people say that, oh, he's so egoistic. Why is he saying only me? Why is he giving himself so much of importance? Now, why is Krishna saying that? Why only Mam Ekam? Why only him? Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. What is he promising us back? If we do this surrender, I will take care of all your sinful reactions. Yeah. So previously, around in the 7th chapter, Krishna says that to surrender to me, you have to be very pure, you have to be, free from sins and everything. And here is saying, you just surrender, I'll take care of your sins. You forget about being free from sins and forget about being pure and waiting, so that I'm pure. Just surrender. So why is he giving such a forcible, it sounds like, just surrender now. It's like a force. It's like, Krishna's begging, or he's literally very strongly instructing, saying just surrender, don't think about anything else, don't have a doubt about this. Why such a forceful call? And the last thing, Moksha Ishami, more important, that is more than liberation, is Ma Shuchaha. Ma Shuchaha means do not fear, do not worry. Just give all your worries to me. What do you do? What is your job?
Just
surrender. Just to surrender. Yeah. So now, why? Why is Krishna speaking like that is today's session. What is surrender? What does he mean by saying surrender? Means surrender him. Yeah, what does it mean? Number 2, why to surrender? Why is he asking us to do that? The next session will be how to do it, how to surrender, what are the different acharyas, what do the different teachers speak about, how should we surrender to Krishna. There are 4 types of people who find it very easy to surrender to Krishna. What are those type of people? Krishna speaks about that also. And there are 4 types of people who, no matter what happens, will never surrender to Krishna. So make sure that we are not under that 4 categories. Yeah? So we need to know those. So these 4 will be the 4 sessions from today onwards. Starting today, why to surrender? What is surrender? So when I tell you this word, surrender, generally the first picture that I get in my mind is, hands up, you surrender. Right? First, I've seen a lot of movies, so maybe that's why. Yeah, first of all, you're some thief and you're asked to surrender. Or some army is attacking some country and they've asked to surrender. That means there's loss of fame, loss of prestige, loss of money, loss of whatever you have. You just have to, throw everything to the opposite party and you're finished. You're left with zero. Is this what surrender means when Krishna tells us? I'm very happy that you think like that, No. Then what does he mean? What is the idea of surrender? Surrender your worry, surrender your ego. You're right. He's saying, Ma Shucha, do not worry. Generally, when someone says hands up, it's a thing to worry. But Krishna is saying, you surrender and you don't worry. Give your worries to me. Give your sinful reactions to me. I'll take care of them. You just do what I ask you to do. Because that is what is beneficial for you. Yeah. So, I'll be writing few things down. If you want, you can copy them also. This is the shloka that we've done. This is the breakup of the module that we're going to have for 7 sessions. Is this pen okay? It's visible. Sona is sitting in the lab. You can see. What is surrender? Number 2. Now Krishna is saying so forcefully, but do we have a choice? Or are we independent? Number 3. So what is surrender? Surrender means to give up something or yourself, right? To give up something or to give up yourself, and then it means handing over independence. Isn't it? Surrender sometimes means that handing over my freedom that I have to someone else. This is what surrender means. Am I right? This is what surrender means: giving up your freedom, giving up, all these things. Generally, when India was around the 1940s, 1950s, India was fighting for freedom, for independence. Why? Because they did not want to surrender to the Britishers, right? So this is what the type of surrender that we have, and when someone asks us to surrender, it's very difficult for the ego to obey. It means giving up your freedom, giving up your independence. And Krishna is asking just that. So right now what Krishna is asking us to do is not a material idea. He is asking us to surrender ourselves, because that is what will keep us happy. Now how do we know that? Do we have a choice to surrender, or are we independent? What do you think? General idea. Are we independent, or are we dependent on something?
We are dependent.
We are dependent. You think so? Does anyone here think that, no, I'm independent, I do whatever I want to?
No.
We are dependent. Yeah, we always dependent on someone else. What about, okay, there are women in this class, what about men? Are they independent?
No, even they are dependent.
Even they are dependent. Isn't it? They are dependent. Why are they working so hard? Because they want to keep their family, their children happy. Why are the women working so hard? Because they want to keep the husbands. We are dependent for every basic thing in this world. Yeah? Is there anyone who is independent? Not even Krishna. He also depends on his devotees. If you see any picture of Krishna, in fact, there was one person that Prabhupada asked, one of his disciples, Yadurani Mataji, to make a painting of Krishna, and she made very beautiful, he's standing. Prabhupada says, this is not right. But she thought maybe something's wrong with the feature or what, but Prabhupada said that Krishna is never alone. Krishna is never independent. At least one tree, at least one cow is always next to him. Kuch nahi to flute, garland, Vrindavan, he needs it. This is the basic nature of the soul. We cannot be independent because the nature of the soul is to love and to serve. The basic intrinsic nature. Of each and every soul is to love and serve. In Chaitanya Charitamrita there is a shloka, Jivera Swarup hoye Krishnera Nitya Das. This is the Swarup. This is the constitutional position, original position of each and every soul. To be a Das, to be a servant of Krishna. Krishnera Tathastha Shakti Beda Bed Prakash Suryaamsha Kirana Surya के जो किरण होते हैं, each and every kiran is dependent on the sun. Without the sun, sunlight cannot exist. Each ray of the sun cannot exist. So each and every jiva cannot exist with that Surya, with that Krishna, without that Krishna. It's dependent. Yeah. So, and then it says Swabhavika Krishna Teen Prakash Shakti. Now Krishna, this is just basic, I'm deviating a little bit just to understand why we cannot be independent. Krishna has 3 types of energies. Basic energies of Krishna are 3 prakar, as this shloka says. Which 3? In English, it's internal energy of Krishna, external energy of Krishna. I'm not writing the word energy, just write it once. And marginal energy of Krishna. What does this mean? You all want the Sanskrit words for these? Is it okay? No? I'll just mention it, I won't write it. Internal is Antaranga, external is Bahiranga, marginal is Tatastha. Tatastha comes from the word Tata. What does Tata mean? Still element? Kinara. It means banks. The shore of the ocean or the banks of the river. Does it have, this Tata, does it have any independent existence of its own? No. Wherever the water comes, that becomes the Tata. When it goes back, there's a bigger Tata. Does it have any independent existence? So marginal energy means the jivas or the tiny souls. Does anyone remember the size of each soul?
Yeah, 110.
Very important. 110,000.
110.
हाँ एक जीरो कम हो जाएगा बहुत फर्क हो जाएगा 110,000 tip of the hair is the size of the soul, and that's why it is marginal energy. It doesn't have any independent existence of its own. It's always dependent on something. On what? On either the internal energy of Krishna or the external energy of Krishna. What does this mean? Again, it's too technical. When the soul is residing with the Lord in the spiritual world, it is taken care by the internal energy of the Lord. Because the Lord personally takes care of that person through either himself. When the jiva, when the soul is living in the spiritual world with the Supreme Lord, he is taken care by the Lord personally. Either himself personally or by his close devotees. That's again a very personal affair. It's like that person is a family of Krishna. A very personal association. And when that soul decides to come to the material world, he is handed over to the external energy of the Lord, which is also famously called as Maya. Correct? Or Durga. What does she do? She is also taking care of the soul. Is Krishna personally involved here now? He is handed over to his external energy. In this tiny, now in the entire spiritual sky, the material world is very tiny. Just like in the entire society, how much place does the prison occupy? Compared to the size of the city, it's very small. So in the entire spiritual creation, or in the entire creation of the Lord, the material world is very tiny. Although we think, my God, this place is so populated. But its spiritual world is 3/4 creation. Material world is 1/4 creation. So here, when the soul decides to come out of the spiritual world into the material world, he is taken care by the external energy. So are we independent? This marginal energy is either taken care by this or by this. And that's why by nature we are dependent. That brings us to the next point. Quick recap. What is surrender? What is Krishna asking us to do? Let me take care of you. That's what he's asking us to do. So that is surrender. Do we have a choice to surrender? Are we independent? We are not independent. We are dependent because we are marginal energy. We are Tatastha Shakti of the Lord. We are 1/10,000 tip of the air. We are always dependent on something. We don't have any independent existence. We either depending on the internal energy of the Lord or we depending on the external energy of the Lord. Jivera Swarupoy Krishnera Nitya Das. This is our position. So that brings us to the third point. Why is it difficult to remain detached?
Because we are so dependent on something.
So we are always dependent on something or the other. So how can we be detached? Generally, can I erase this part?
Yeah.
Every time I'll be expanding each point on this space of the board. So and today I thought I got everything. Sushila Adri, duster bhul gayi. हर बार ऐसे होता है. No, I have this now. The cockroach paper. No. Now, because we are so dependent, it's our nature to be attached. When we are small as kids, maybe we are attached to sweets or to our toys. When we grow up, we are detached from the toys. Why? Because we have iPads. because we have mobiles.
Something
Because we have bigger toys, right? But again, that detachment is on the basis of some higher attachment. That high is what we think in our mind. Imagine someone who is married but is still attached to small things. We think that person is immature. Or sometimes when that person is growing up and is not becoming mature, a lot of time people say, iski shaadi kara do ye. What happens? You get responsibility. Then you start focusing on your career. You start focusing on. With age, we're supposed to get attached to higher things. Yeah. Apparently, we are getting detached also because we have some other attachment. But the basic fundamental principle is that we are attached. Yeah. Attachments will change, but the principle of attachment is the same. Yeah, the things will change. Maybe a career goal or, being accepted by a certain group of friends or certain group of people. You keep growing. So when you get old, you become detached? No. You're still attached to the body. That's why, That's why actually what is happening is death is quite a misnomer in that case. We think that, death means you have to get detached. But then what is dying? What is dying? Are we dying? What dies?
The body dies.
The body dies. The body dies. The soul gets released. Okay, does the soul die? Let's find out. The soul will never die. It's eternal. Does the body die? It perishes. But the body is already made of dead elements only.
The soul is released.
Now I'm saying who dies? The body is already made of dead elements. It's dead only. The soul never dies. So marta kaun hai? Ego dies? Ego goes with the soul.
Ego goes with the soul.
This word death is simply a misnomer.
So nothing dies in it.
Yeah, because body is anyway made of dead elements. Abhi usko kya मानना? What is death? It's just passage of the soul from one body to another. That's what we call death. If you see in civilized places, people usually use this word called, oh, that person passed away. Death is like a very gruesome word which is used. It's actually a misnomer. No one dies. It's just passing. What are it's some other attachment which is dragging us. Now there are people who are detached in this world, no? There are people, there are sannyasis, there are yogis. They are also attached to the principle of detachment. Or they wouldn't live the life that they live in. No? Am I right or am I wrong? Some attachment is there. Because the soul by nature is getting attached. If there's a materialistic person, let's take the three types of people that are there in this world. Materialists, some spiritual yogi, let's call him spiritualist. And let's take a devotee.
That means complete detachment is impossible, is it?
Complete detachment is impossible. We'll come to the conclusion. Materialist will be attached to his material things. If that material things gives him trouble for some time, he'll be detached from there and then get attached to something else. Right? A spiritualist is attached to the principle of detachment. Yeah? And he is detached from, lowly things and material things which he knows by nature give trouble in this world or are cause of attachment or bondage in this world. Yeah, but he is still attached to the renunciation, his own renunciation. What about a devotee? What is so different in the devotee which is not there in a material, it's not there in a spiritualist or a normal yogi? He has the right type of attachment. He is attached to Krishna and objects that will please Krishna. Basically Krishna. So the problem here is not attachment or detachment. The problem is that we attach to the wrong things. That is what is giving us trouble. That is what Krishna is asking us to surrender. Point? Why is it difficult to remain detached? Sometimes when our husbands or our children give us trouble, we think, nahi hote to acha hota hai. We get detached. Momentarily you feel so much of detachment, you feel high, this material world. And then after some time again you get carried away. When they smile or when they do something or something sweet, some sweet memory comes back and again you get attached. Because by nature we are attached. Nature of the soul is to be attached. Death is a misnomer. Out of a materialist and spiritualist, devotee is the best because he is attached to the right thing which will not give him material misery. That is what Krishna is asking us to be. And now, why is the idea of surrender painful or scary in this material world? If you ask any normal person, surrender. A new person who comes to the temple, you have to shave your head, you have to surrender, you have to leave everything. My God, it's so difficult. Sometimes the idea of surrender in this material world is scary, is painful. Why? Now we are Indians, we should be able to answer this. We've been subjugated by 800 years of Mughal rule and 200 years of British rule. Forced. Perfect. That is the first point. Force or compulsion is repulsive. Yeah? Because there's always what do you say? Fear of exploitation. Can you all turn to chapter 2, verse number 62? Chapter 2, verse number 62. Dhyayato. Can you see the shloka?
Verse number?
62. Are we there? I'm reading it. Dhyayato vishayan pumsah sangas. Sorry, I read it. Sangasteshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kamah kamat krodho bhijayate. Can you all read the translation together? Start.
By contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises.
Yeah. So you see what attachment does? Anything you contemplate on, you immediately get attached to. If you sit on a seat for 1 year in school, you get attached to that seat. So forget about 1 year. You sit on the plane for one journey, you get attached to that seat.
Yeah.
Next time when you come on the airplane, last time I was there. You always remember.
No, even for that 1 hour, whatever.
Even that 1
you don't
hour.
want to change your seat.
By seat.
Yeah, now I'm comfortable in this seat. You sat for your 5 minutes, hello. But still, this is my chair, my seat. So you get immediately attached. When we contemplate on a certain thing, that's what Krishna says here in this shloka, we get attached to it. With attachment, what arises? Sabse pehle? Teshupajayate sangat. With attachment comes काम. Lust say anger, and then even the next shloka, there is krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhrama, smriti bhamshat buddhi nasho. Buddhi nash everyone understands. And buddhi nashat pranashyati. Right? One will perish. So this is what attachment does. That's why the idea of surrender is painful for us, because we know that when we surrender, what will happen? That thing will control us. And this force and this compulsive compulsion, this compulsory attachment, or if I get dependent on something, that thing will exploit me. Like to Gandhiji, when we wanted the fight for freedom, the Britishers said, no, we will not give you the country because you all will make so many blunders, you all will make so many mistakes, and the whole country will go, you all don't know how to chala our country, we have experience, let us do it. Gandhiji said, no, we want the freedom to make mistakes. We want that freedom. Independence chahiye. Because what were you thinking? With Britishers, we have to go according to their own system of working. There is fear of exploitation. That's why no one wants to surrender. The minute when someone says, आपकी जो भी जमा पूंजी मुझे दे दो, what is the first thing? this person will root me. Right? Why do we hide our bank statements? Why do we hide everything? Because we know that there's always a chance of being exploited. That's why no one wants to surrender. The idea of surrender is painful in this world. The idea of surrender is scary in this world. We will be controlled by that object then. That's why even Krishna doesn't give bhakti easily. He'll give mukti he'll give liberation. He'll never give bhakti so easily because he knows if I give bhakti to this person, that person will control me. Krishna is scary. I mean, he's scared. Yeah. So we may think of, this control, we become dependent on it. The nature of attachment in this world is that our desires for it increases unlimited. When we get attached to something, what happens? We start thinking, I'll do this with it, I'll do that with it. The desire increases unlimited till we completely depend upon it and we lose all independence. The loss of control is sometimes painful. Isn't it? That's what we all think. Niti Shastra, in fact, it gives a wonderful shloka. I won't read the shloka. Bandhani khalu santi bahuni. There are many a bondage. There are many a bondage in this world. But that to attachment in this world is entirely different. There are many things which bond us or which can bind us. But if we get attached to something, that is very different. Why is it different? Why is bondage and attachment two different things? Something can bind us, but then if mentally, if I'm not, I can be, sometimes physically present in the class and mentally absent. That's my choice. But if my attachment is in that thing, why is it different? Niti Shastra says attachment mellows down the heart and completely controls it. Then it gives an analogy. Just as a black bee, you've seen a bumblebee? Big black bees. They are capable of penetrating through something as hard as wood. Bees. They are big black bumblebees, if you see there. What are they called? Bhaura. It can penetrate through wood.
Really?
Yeah. It's that hard. And then, what happens? How does it die?
कमल के फूल पे ही बैठा रहता है.
It lovingly allows itself.
वापस फूल खुलेगा, मैं वापस लूंगा और उसके पहले हाथी आके तोड़ ले.
Yeah, lovingly allows itself to be enclosed in the soft folds of a lotus as its petal close at sunset and even embraces death within. It can penetrate through wood and get out. But when the lotus petals close, when there's sunset, all the lotus, the lotus closes. It can penetrate and go outside, but because it's so busy sucking the nectar, it's so attached over there, it doesn't want to go out. So the next morning it doesn't have any, independent. It can't fly out. It dies inside. Although it can still penetrate and get out. That is the nature of attachment. That's why it instills so much of fear. Normally girls today, they get very scared to get married. Yeah, it's a fact. They want to get married. They want to be independent. Or if they get married, they still want to work. I know I have my friends like that. I said, how can I ask money from my husband? I can't. I have to have my own independence. No? Am I lying? No. I may be wrong. I'm not saying all are like that, but then there are.
Mostly nowadays.
Nowadays,
Yes.
with everything.
The ones who are not working, they are thinking that all the time.
Yeah.
The obsession
Yeah.
with.
Because the world has become like that. How can I be dependent on something? And if that person that I'm so dependent on hurts me, that person has the most potential to hurt me. Isn't it? When I'm dependent on someone, there's some other Tom, Dick and Harry comes and says something to me, I don't feel bad. But if my own family member, someone who I love so much, I trust so much, has my heart, and if that person has the most potential to hurt, that's why I don't want to give my heart out to anyone. That's why surrender, we find it so difficult. We think that, no, it's difficult. Now when we're thinking, then we understand, okay. But then point is that we have to surrender. What if we have some disease? We can't surrender. You have to surrender to the disease. You have to listen to what the doctor is saying if you have to be alright. We have to surrender to the 6 opulences of the Lord. You remember what are the 6 opulences of the Lord? Wealth, beauty, power, fame, strength, everyone in this world surrenders to these 6 opulences. If they don't, they surrender to their own desires, to their own egos, to their own senses. And all these things exploit us. The 3 modes of material nature. What is Krishna asking us to do? He is asking us to surrender to Him so that all these things don't exploit us. There's so many masters in this material world that we have to forcibly surrender to us, to our boss maybe, sometimes mother-in-law, or sometimes, so many things. You don't want to surrender and then you have to surrender and then that person exploits you. But Krishna says, if you surrender to me, you will never have to beg at anyone's lotus feet. You will actually be independent. You will actually have freedom. Yeah. Then those things, when you're slowly getting detached from things, they'll not give you pain. Or that bee, for that matter, like it's there's an example of there's the Parijat tree. The Parijat tree has unlimited honey. So if a bee, some Parijat tree is actually not found in this world, it's found in the heavenly planets. King Indra, but there are very few, they don't, but even the smell is not that original as what is there in the heavenly planets. Lord Indra has this Parijat tree. Yeah? And Satyabhama ke liye Krishna got it down. He got the entire tree down. He got the flower for Rukmini, so Satyabhama said, you got the flower for her, you didn't get for me. So he got the entire tree down. So that Parijat tree is very special because the fragrance is extremely sweet. The bee gets so attracted to it, but once the bee, it's said in the Shastra that once the bee reaches a Parijat tree, it doesn't need to go anywhere else because there's abundant supply of honey. So Krishna will fill your heart with so much love that you don't have to beg love and satisfaction from anyone else. You'll be so satisfied with His love that you don't have to beg anyone else, and there's no question of you being exploited by anyone else. That's why Krishna is asking us to surrender to Him and no one else.
When you're talking about sometimes detaching, but that's only like material things. What about relations, like your family or
Yeah, we'll come to that. When we come, why does Krishna says Mam Ekam? He uses this word, Mam Ekam means only to me. Why not to anyone else?
Is that escaping?
We'll come to that also. When we come to Mam Ekam, we'll come to that also. The secret to happiness is to transfer our surrender to fulfill the desires of the Supreme Lord. To achieve real happiness compared to the relative happiness that this world can provide. Yeah? So in material surrender, you get exploited. But in spiritual surrender, where you surrender to Krishna, Krishna says, so that you are not exploited, you surrender to me. Like if you are working under a very powerful ruler, who can harm you? Harming you will be like, touching, like doing something to the ruler. So when you are under subjugation of someone so powerful, no one can even harm you, no one can touch you. That's why Krishna is asking that you surrender to me, and that will be beneficial to you. So it's difficult to remain detached. It's painful and scary in this material world to surrender because of fear of exploitation and because we get controlled by that attachment. Now, why is Krishna asking us to surrender to Him? I discussed
force and compulsion.
Force or compulsion. Mostly material surrender is forceful or it's under compulsion. And it's repulsive. We find these such things very repulsive. So when Krishna is making this statement, it sounds as if He is forcing us to surrender. Yeah, but it is spiritual surrender is very different. Krishna is asking us so that we don't get exploited. Thus Krishna is asking us to surrender to Him because of 3 things. Can I quickly do a recap so that even I get a flow? We understand what is surrender, giving up freedom and everything. Do we have a choice to surrender? Are we independent or dependent?
Independent.
We are dependent by nature because we are Tatastha Shakti, we are marginal in energy. Why is it difficult to remain detached?
Because we are dependent on so
Yeah, because our nature is to love and serve, we are attached by nature. Why is the idea of surrender painful and scary in this world? because of force, because of exploitation, because we get controlled by those things. That's why we don't want to surrender. In spite of this, Krishna is asking us to surrender. Yeah? Because he promises us three things. Point number one, he promises us protection. The last point that I made, so that we don't get exploited by anyone else. He gives us shelter. Under his shelter, nobody can exploit us. Can you all please turn to chapter 10, verse number 8? The Lord is asking us. Yeah. So now the point number one, protection and shelter. The Lord is asking us to surrender unto Him, so that we are freed from the bondage of surrendering to different masters in the material world that exploit us. He'll give us total protection. He'll give us complete shelter. That is why we can surrender to Him. Number two, when we surrender to an enemy, he gains power. In sports, we have to surrender to the stronger opposition party. Yeah? Or when the elections, the stronger party wins, and then the others have to follow their dictation, whatever they say, even if it's nonsense. You have to surrender because they are powerful. Then they gain power. Some people gain money, some people gain power. A thief, when he is surrendering, what happens? The police gets control over him. What does Krishna gain when we surrender to him? Does he gain anything? Generally, our material idea, when someone tells you to surrender, means isko to kuch chahiye mere se. What does Krishna want from us? Bhakti? Nothing. Love. Just read that shloka, 10.8. I am reading it, you all can read along with me. Aham sarvasya prabhavo maddaha sarvam pravartate iti madva bhajante ma buddha bhava samanvitaha. Everybody, translation?
I am
The source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything belongs from me.
The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts.
Please turn to chapter 3, verse 22. You'll have to keep flipping like that. When you actually read Krishna's words, a lot of things make sense. 3.22. I'll also have to turn. Just give me a minute. Can I start? I'll follow you. Start. Nasti kartavyam
Trishu lokeshu kinchana
Bhaktavyam Varta eva cha karmani. Krishna says, O son of Pritha, he's addressing Arjun, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. So first thing in 10.8 he says, everything to mera hi hai, what will you give me? If we think by surrendering to Krishna, Krishna wants something out of us. What is Krishna saying here? Everything belongs to me. Everything is coming from me. Forget about belongs to me. Everything is coming from me. Here says, I am not in want of anything, nor can I want to obtain anything. Next shloka. Tishtadya karmasrita
mama vartamanuvardante manushya
partha sarvashaha. Now he is saying, why do I work? For if I failed to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties or path, certainly all men would follow my path. He is even working so that others are, as an example, so that he is exemplary and so that others can work. That's why he is working. Otherwise, he's got no business. Next shloka, I'm reading only the translation. Itsidhiyo reme loka. If I did not perform prescribed duties all these words would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. He's saying this is why I am working. Yeah. First he says everything belongs to me. Then he says I don't want anything. Is there anything that we can give to Krishna? No. It's funny, but he's still asking us to give. Still asking us to surrender. You know, if a baby surrenders to the parent, who's got more trouble to take?
The parent.
The parent. The baby has to do anything. Imagine if the baby wants to sleep very nicely. It's crying to surrender to the parent. And then the parent picks it up. Who's taking more trouble? The parent. If we surrender to Krishna, Krishna has got more trouble of taking care of us. There's a classic example in Mahabharata. When Abhimanyu died, what happened? Arjun was so upset. He said, on fire, he took this vow. He said that tomorrow if I don't kill this Jayadratha, I will enter fire. He took this vow and he left the battlefield. And everyone was scared, And then they were making plans that, Jayadratha ko ekdam, he'll be the most protected thing in the entire Kuru army. Drona, Ashwathama, everyone. Bhishma was not there by then. But then all these generals had only one goal. They have to protect Jayadratha. Arjun will be finished. Such an easy job. Mahabharata become such an easy task. Yeah. And in the night, Arjun came back to the tent and he was going to sleep, and Krishna was pacing back and forth in his tent, outside his tent.
He was more tense.
Yeah. And then Krishna is telling Arjun, where are you going? कुछ plan नहीं बनाना, कुछ नहीं करना. And Arjun was like, no, I'm going to sleep. Krishna said, do you remember you've taken a vow that tomorrow if you don't kill Jayadratha, which is going to be the biggest task of your life, and you're sleeping? And Arjun tells Krishna, you said, no, that your devotee will never perish. So you keep your word now. It's your tension how to take care of this. I'm going off to sleep. And then Krishna will say again, just thinking how to do this now. So when he makes a statement that my devotee will never perish, na me bhaktya pranashyati. He keeps his word. He says, if you surrender to me, I will take care of you so wonderfully that you don't have to worry about anything. Who doesn't want to give their worries away? Is there anyone in this world who wants to keep their worries like their treasure? Krishna is saying, you give me your worry. Who asks you for a worry? Even if when you have some problem and you want to talk to someone, people run away from you. Isn't it? In the times of trouble, who comes to you? Some people might come out of obligation. But honestly, no one wants to come. So Krishna says, trouble in your life, give to me. Worry in your life, give to me. Who can be more wonderful than this? Isn't it so sweet of him? That's why he's asking us to surrender. Krishna is not going to gain anything. Only we will gain. When a child surrenders to the parent has more trouble to take care. But the child has nothing to do. Yeah? It's like I remember there was such a cute thing. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's later. I can't remember. Anyway. And then there are levels of surrender. Or types of surrender. Or relations. Maybe I'll call it relations. There are some people who think, if I don't surrender to Krishna, he'll take everything from me. So better I surrender. At death anyway you're going to lose everything. Are you going to carry everything and go? No. So anyway I have to lose, so better be charitable, better give something to Krishna, so that he'll also keep me peaceful. Out of fear. There is some relationship. These people are called God-fearing people. I am very God-fearing. I don't do wrong things, because if I do wrong things will happen to me. So that's why I'll surrender to Krishna. Out of
Fear.
fear. There is another kind of relationship Where some people say that, हम देते हैं ना तो हमको और मिलता है.
Barter.
Yeah, it's a barter system.
Yeah. So many modes of worship are done like that. I'll give 10 nariyal, you give me first class. Such mode of worship is in mode of passion. It's out of desire. But still something better than nothing. Out of desire, out of desire. Third type of surrender, third type of relationship could be everything belongs to the Lord. So if I give something that belongs to Him, back to Him, that is honesty, that is my duty. Because He's given me so many things, it's my duty to give back. So there are relations out of duty or out of gratitude. मुझे इतना सब दिया है, I should give something at least. Out of duty, out of gratitude. This is definitely better than, these are hierarchy, this is out of fear. All the religions of this world, Qayamat ke din, you will be judged. So you better behave like a good human being. Isn't it? There are, I won't name the religion, there are religions who preach like that. Because people are at that level of relationship with the Lord. So they are motivated, their surrender is motivated in that particular mode. In fear or in some desire. Even in the Vedic scriptures, there are Karma Kand section. There are 3 sections of Vedic scriptures. There's Karma Kand, there's Gyan Kand, and there is Bhakti. In this Karma Kand, you want something, you worship a particular demigod, you will get it. Desire. At least some sort of surrender. And then duty and gratitude. But what is the highest? That you know that everything belongs to the Lord and you know that you can use it in His service. Show how you love Him by using the things that He has given you out of pure love. That is the highest form of worship.
So what do you think it comes like gradually?
Yeah, of course, it comes by practice. But internal motivation could be love, or could be duty, just gratitude, or just be desire.
What is the fourth one that you said?
Love. Bhakti
You
Kant.
love Krishna. That is Bhakti.
Doing it out of genuine love, not out of because you're getting something or because you're just fearful that, I'll be sinful then, I'll be called a, shameless person, not a God-fearing person. What is your motivation? Are you doing it out of love? Yeah, so these 4 types of surrender.
But isn't it that our love in most cases is also a very rational kind of, that she's saying
Exactly,
that,
yeah.
okay, he's given
How
so
do you know
much,
it is
so I
out
give,
of,
so
out
it's
of
like
love or
gradual.
duty or desire or fear? How do we judge whether it is our love, duty, desire or fear?
The first 2 I think are still very
Yeah,
clear.
They're quite
already
moderate.
we become duty bound and then
You feel that he's
Yeah.
given so much.
but
so I
gratitude
give
goes
it
in hand in hand with love. You have to be grateful every moment to Him. Then the love will come, I feel. That's part of
Yeah, that's
Here I
a
can
process. Uski pehle ka step is gratitude, then
Yeah.
you will start loving.
I can remember a story. I don't know, just see if it fits in this particular example. When Narad Muni, he was wondering, that why are gopis always, when Krishna gives so much importance to the gopis, why is it there are so many people who are doing so much tapasya? What are the gopis doing? I mean, technically, they just like, normal
Having fun with
having
Krishna.
Yeah, they're with Krishna, they're enjoying with Krishna, they're at home, they're very normal, but there are tapasvis, there are great yogis who are, drilling their respiratory system, they're doing so many austerities, they've given up so many things. Yeah, so Krishna, Narad Muni asked Krishna, Q. So Krishna says, fine. You go and tell these yogis, you go and tell these gopis later that Krishna has a headache. And his headache will be alright when he gets the dust of his devotees. From the feet of the devotees. So then Narad Muni says, okay, so he goes to these yogis and he says that, Krishna has a headache. So they think, oh really? The Lord has a headache? My God, They say that it will be alright if you give the dust of your feet to him. They said, are you crazy? We'll go to hell. We don't want to go, we will go to hell forever if our feet, technically, even you can't climb on top of the altar or, even your feet should not be over the Lord. Forget about the dust from your feet. So they say, no, we can't do this. So Narad Muni says, yeah, they're so aware, So then he goes to the gopis and he says, the Lord has a headache. So they become so frantic. They say, really, what should we do for him to become alright? He says that, Krishna said that the dust of your feet will... They started scraping their feet. There were holes there where they were standing. They said, leke jao. Krishna should be alright. But Narad Muni said, but you're not scared? Are you not scared that you'll go to hell if your dust falls on the head of the Lord? They said, but Krishna will be alright. That is okay. We're ready to go eternally to hell if it gives a moment of relief to Krishna. When you give up things, when you're a tapasvi and a yogi, at least you're given some respect for giving up things. What respect do the gopis get? They don't get any respect. Yeah, when they came to Krishna, they left everything. They were ostracized from the society. They had to literally leave. When Krishna was playing his flute, they left their children, but what respect are they getting for doing it? They are only going to be condemned for life. But they took the risk of doing it just to be with Krishna, to give him pleasure.
Refused to do that. So they proved that.
Even Lakshmi actually is not ready to give up her position. So the simplicity of the gopis, the genuine love, which of course comes by practice. It's not that, it can't be, a lot of people do it artificially, that, oh, I love Krishna, by the time of crisis they're so shaken. It's tested. But it takes time to reach this level. But I'm saying there are levels at which people surrender to Krishna. I'm saying all are good. Rather than being a total, outcast, something at this level is better. Yeah? So these are the surrender. So Krishna is asking us to surrender in any level. But love is the best. Yeah? So what is the motivation to surrender to Krishna? Now this is from Krishna's side. Protection and shelter. Krishna will gain nothing. And relationship is there. So many relations that we can share with Krishna. This is the last thing we'll do. What is the inspiration to surrender to Krishna? What will he... sometimes for starting any profitable business, if I have to strike this relationship with Krishna, if I have to surrender to Krishna, what will I get? He relieves us from material existence. Number one, he relieves us from our material existence. He takes us to his spiritual abode. That's the best gift. And Krishna's personal qualities, which I'll just list down now, fatafat, so that next time we can start. It's already 12:40. Can I write it here? Yeah. Oh, I need this for recap. I'll do a quick recap. What is surrender? Giving up
freedom.
I'll turn it off or I'll put it up. If you're stuffy, then tell me, I'll switch it on. Huh? Do we have a choice to surrender?
No, we are dependent.
We are dependent. Because we are tatastha shakti, Vimajana energy. Why is it difficult to remain detached? Because we are attached by nature. The nature of the soul is to love and to serve. And then why is the idea of surrender painful and scary in the material world? Because of exploitation, force, repulsion, it's repulsive. And we'll be controlled by that other person that we surrender to. So why is Krishna asking us to surrender? That's what we discussed last.
Because he promises us
Protection and shelter. He promises us protection and shelter. Second thing is,
He gains nothing.
he gains nothing from it. Only we will gain everything. And third thing is that you can surrender in either fear, desire, duty, or high. The most topmost is love. And then what is the inspiration to surrender to Krishna? What is the motivation? Why should I surrender to Krishna? 3 points. Yeah, so that we can go back to Godhead. So that we relieve from this material existence. This troublesome, the Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Yeah, and the 3 types of other miseries. free from it. He'll take us to our spiritual abode and Krishna's personal qualities. Just quickly I'll mention them, which we'll elaborate on next Thursday. Krishna's personal qualities is number 1, he provides shelter to his devotees unlimitedly. Where we'll be sharing the story of Abhimanyu, Jatayu. Jatayu, if you see that technically he failed. Krishna didn't come and say ki kya hai. You couldn't even stop Ravan. You couldn't even stop Sita. No, but he actually did something which he didn't even do for his own father. He gave such a respectful cremation. He cremated Jatayu with his own hands. Even Dashrath did not get it from his son Ram. Yeah, and then that's his personal quality. That's personal love and shelter that he gives to his devotees. Yeah, and then Krishna purifies from sinful reactions. Yeah, that's one special thing that he does for his devotees. And then Krishna only wants to exchange love with us. Doesn't want anything material. We can't give him, that's another question, but then there's nothing material that he wants. And Krishna offers himself to his devotees. There's example of Sudama, Gopis will be sharing many stories. Krishna fulfills the desires of his devotees. Krishna's name is Varadraj. Yeah? And what he wants us to do by this surrender is he wants us to see things from his point of view. We'll elaborate next Thursday. So all these qualities is what we'll discuss under this topic, Krishna's personal qualities. I'll be doing it next time also in case you've not written it down. So from next class we'll start from this point. What is the inspiration to surrender to Krishna? And then once we finish the shloka, Mamekam, I think your point is also pending. Why does he say just surrender to Krishna? Why